We are 68 days out from the midterm elections. Republicans in full campaign mode as they work to keep or expand their slim majorities in the House and the Senate. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance will keynote the first ever Republican midterm convention in 2 weeks in Dallas, Texas. Vice President Vance will speak on the first night, with President Trump closing out the event. Democrats are leading the GOP in multiple generic ballot polls and favoring the left on the economy. Joining me now is Minnesota Congressman Emmer. He is also the House Majority Whip. Congressman, what more can you tell us about what you're hearing with regards to this convention? It's, of course, the first of its kind, but more importantly, how do you get Republican voters motivated when you don't have President Trump on the ticket this November?
Well, yeah, good to be with you, Cheryl. And it's a great question. But I think regardless of what the other media outlets that would like to try and convince Americans that we're not motivated, Republicans are motivated, and Donald Trump is motivated. The president is the one who goes out and literally performs these rallies. He'll be down in Dallas for this first of a kind mid-term in convention. And the whole idea is to remind people how hard we all worked to try and stop the advance of Marxism and socialism and anarchy that is now the left with our great President Donald J. Trump. And I'm very confident that Republicans understand, and all Americans, by the way. All Americans understand.
My apologies for interrupting you, sir, but, you know, we've seen this rise in socialism, and I want to ask you about this, because these democratic socialists, I mean, they're dividing the Democrats, you know, for sure. DSA leaders say a big part of their growth comes from Americans who are believing that capitalism is not working for them. Millennials that grew up with the expectation that if they worked hard, they could have a better life than their parents, and nobody experienced that. This socialism surge comes at a time when Americans in battleground states are more concerned about the cost of living than anything else. Those are not my words, but look, this is in the survey. And how do you message this, Congressman? Because when you look, I pointed to the work that you've done with American farmers. You've done amazing work with farmers. But when you hear them talk about high prices, about gasoline, about groceries, how do you have that conversation with your constituents? And how do Republicans get that message out there that affordability is important to them?
It's another great question. It's something that we deal with every day, and it's evolving as we go forward. Let's first make it clear when you talk about messaging, there is nothing democratic about socialism. This is another, you know, for 100 years, they called themselves progressives when in fact they were socialists, Marxists, communists. Now they're just open telling us what they are. And look, everybody wants to talk about nutbags like El Sayed in Michigan. This guy who believes American football, by the way, is toxic masculinity, and he doesn't like the country. He says things like we deserved 9/11. I mean, this is ridiculous. Everybody focuses on him winning. And Cheryl, nobody focuses on who the Democrats offered as a choice. They offered a woman that was an awful candidate who ran an awful campaign. No matter how much money they spent, they could not put a different face, a different personality on Haley Stevens, and that's why she lost. That being said, to the core of your question, I would argue that the young people in this country, first, just saying, no, it doesn't exist doesn't work, as you know. What's your value proposition to all voters, and in particular to that class of voters 18 to 35? We have to recognize that this generation right now has more bills, Cheryl, than any generation of that age that preceded them. They have their cell phone bill. They have streaming services. They have the internet that they have to pay for. These are things that a lot of us never had to comprehend. So we've got to do a much better job, I would say, on both sides of the aisle. We've got to do a much better job of addressing those real concerns, as opposed to just the rhetoric that you heard from the mayor of New York, which it's an empty promise, right? It's, hey, everybody, come with us to Pleasure Island. You'll get everything you want, the old story of Pinocchio, and everybody turns into a donkey, and it's pretty awful. So we have to do a better job of establishing that contrast and then offering a choice, a better path.
All right. Well, the business of you and your colleagues begins Monday. The House returns to Washington. The lower chamber is only going to have 16 legislative days before the midterms. There's a lot on your docket, including the Senate's version of the stopgap funding bill, work expected to resume on a third reconciliation package. Politico's reporting that there's pressure growing on House Republican leaders to allow a floor vote on data center legislation, following mounting public opposition to the facilities. Congressman, so after the stopgap funding bill, what should be the first priority for the Republican conference before the midterms? And also, what are you expecting with regards to the Farm Bill, which is in the Senate right now?
I expect we're going to have a vote on the continuing resolution to make sure that the government is funded as of September 30th. That will be the first thing. Then we've got things that are incredibly important, like the Clarity Act. It's got to get done. You had almost 100 Democrats vote for it out of the House a year ago, and it still languishes over in the Senate with all kinds of other great stuff. The Save America Act is still the top priority that has to get done in the Senate. And I would argue that the House has done its work, Cheryl. We have passed all of this stuff already. And yes, we've got some things that we're going to address. Reconciliation 3.0 we've sent over there. That sits there as well. So when you say work is going to start, the House has been working this entire Congress. The House has been producing with Donald J. Trump this entire Congress. It is the Senate that has been sitting on their hands, and they're going to have to get this stuff done very quickly. The number one thing we will probably get done next week is the continuing resolution.
Yeah, we had Congressman Riley Moore on in the last hour. You know, he co-sponsored Save America, and he said he's confident that Save America is going to make it through the Senate. So you get 50 votes, you get the vice president. You know, we shall see. Everything is on the Senate's table right now, Congressman. So there's a lot to watch as you and your colleagues return to Washington. It's always great to have you on the program, sir. Thank you for being with me this morning.
Good to be with you, Cheryl.
All right, Congressman Tom Emmer.